Hey, how's it going, guys? I'm here today with homie Chris.
Hey.
I'm Papa Joe, and today we have the honor of interviewing our friend David Tejas of the Casualties.
Yes.
Welcome to El Paso.
Welcome to Paso.
I'm stoked. I'm stoked to be back.
Yeah, dude.
The last time I was here, I was opening for the Casualties with my band Starving Wolves.
Right, Starving Wolves, yeah.
So it's kind of cool. Like there's been a couple of people that were like, "We saw you, but you didn't sing last time." So it's kind of like a really cool comeback.
Hell yeah, dude. What a way to come back.
Yeah,
Oh
totally.
shit, man. With the Casualties.
Like living the dream, man.
Yeah, I'll tell you guys what, man. The Casualties for me are just one of my inspirations, man. You guys are just. When I think of punk, I think of the Casualties, man. I mean, my first love with punk is the Misfits, but you guys are right up there with those guys, man. And I appreciate you being here, bro.
Yeah,
it means
totally.
Brother, it means a lot, man.
It's an honor, man.
Thank you.
It's an honor, brother. Yeah, welcome to the Monolith sessions, where we always try to feature people who are doing awesome things. And dude, like, how much more awesome could it get? You guys are on a really kick-ass tour right now. You were talking to us earlier, telling us this is about the 5th stop on your tour.
Yeah, this is the last Texas stop. Wow. So for us, you'll get this, and for me, it's funny because the guys realize it. Like the Casualties have always been like accepted like family in Texas, and for some reason, you know, they've always had that vibe that really hits with the Texas, the Chicano like vibe. Like we're gonna fight, we're fighting for what we have, and so every night there's been a really rad like the crowd feels like
it's like the energy.
Yeah, or like we're a big family. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this is the first show a lot of people have been out to since COVID.
Yeah, right.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
Austin was the first show we played in 2 years. I haven't even seen them in 2 years. So for me, it means something too that we're starting in Texas, and for me, you know, it's one of those things that makes me feel good inside. Is like Casualties have always been loved in Texas, and now they have a fucking Texan in the band. So
that's badass.
it means something to all of us. You know what I mean?
Like,
it means something to me, man.
Yeah, so I'm even like, all right, I don't even care if it's me. I'm just glad there's a Texas guy in there.
So David, tell us how long you've been in the punk scene, and like, what was your very first punk band?
Okay, well, this is, I think a lot of us, and we can tell just by our vibe together, is like, there's people that are into punk and they dig it, and people that are lifers, you know, and I can remember, and I think about it often because, you know, now that I've seen a lot of our crowd when they were little kids, and now they have kids, and so I think about how I got into this, and I remember when I was probably 3 or 4, and I remember going into a Diamond Shamrock back in the day, and I was looking at these little toys. You know, there used to be that little rack of like toys and shit for kids. And I looked up, and there was this guy with a mohawk, and he said, "You like those?" And my mom kind of like pulled me away. Yeah. And then as he left, he bought these little. They were like, you put this little sponge in a water and it turns into like a little man. He bought them for me and was like, "That's for you, kid," and like walked out. And I was like, what? I'd never seen a mohawk, so it freaked me out. You know, I was like interested. And then maybe like 2 or 3 years later, I was like 5 or 6. I remember being in traffic with my grandma, and I was like, you know, little kid stares all ugly style. I was like looking out the window, and this guy just gave me this ugly like punk Sid Vicious snarl and flipped me off. Yeah. And I was all, and I looked and he had a mohawk. And so I was like, for some reason I was always attracted to that little attitude style.
Got to you, man.
Yeah, it got to, and it always stuck in my head. And I grew up in a really multiracial neighborhood, and so I kind of grew up first listening to like rap. Yeah. You know, early rap.
Well, tell us about your influence. What early rap groups were you talking about?
Like, I really loved like political shit. Like I loved Public Enemy,
Yes, yeah.
you know. But I also loved the Ghetto Boys because they were from Houston, you know. So I love Ghetto Boys.
Yes.
I love Houston. Houston. I love Ghetto Boys. I love Public Enemy, shit like that. But I was also into metal. You know, like I said, my family was like the Valley, like Del Rio, Eagle Pass, loves metal and shit. And I had a cousin Freddie that always we were just watch Headbangers Ball every Saturday. So, as we all know, metal and punk are like that. So I had this kind of influence and then this political influence from Public Enemy. And somewhere along the lines, you know, I met this guy moved in next door to me, was fucking as punk as fuck from San Antonio. And gave me an Exploited, you know, tape back in the day, dude.
Yeah.
So I remember, like, I first heard the Sex Pistols, but it didn't do it for me.
Right.
It, like, you know, I can respect it. And I there's some songs I like. I love Bodies, but when I heard Exploited and the Misfits, that was it, dude. I was like, I love horror movies. I grew up with that shit, and I loved fucking Waddy and that fucking, you know, just fuck this and fuck that. And that look too. And so as from a kid, from like being 13, it had everything that you could want, and it was smart. It was smarter than me. So I always like, I kept digging, and punk just has history that you can just dig through. So with that, this guy that lived next door to me, we were like, fuck it, you know, like every punk, they can do it, we can do it. One year my mom had got me like this little bass because I wanted to play like bass in a metal band, but I have zero like musical talent. I really don't. I wish I did. And so this dude's name was Ray, and he had a little brother named Trey. We'd go to my mom's house, and all the things that I hated, I fucking love looking back on it. We got like you know, that Rubbermaid big trash can everybody had in the garage. We turned it sideways and put a kick pedal, so it'd be like, boom, 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 boom. We had one snare that we found, like La Bamba style. So we had a snare.
That's hardcore punk right there, man.
Yeah, dude. You know those old school roasting pans? The black ones with the white little dots?
Yeah.
We did that kind of like a Kong.
Yeah.
And so we had this fucking piece of shit amp. We plugged the bass into it and a little microphone, and that gave me my first chance to, like, everybody knew I knew I couldn't play the instrument, so I just started screaming, and that was what we would do in my mom's garage. And our first band was called Peel, and I thought I was so clever because I was probably like 12, and I was like, you peel the skin, and I was like, oh, that's it. I'm so deep, I'm like Glenn Danzig.
Hey, I want a T-shirt.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's some good stories.
What metal bands are you into? What were you into growing up? And are you still into metal bands now?
Oh, I love metal. I love just like one of the last tours we were on. We played this big festival, and it was us, and then like Watain.
That's my dude.
I'm sure I can tell.
Yeah.
So I was like, fuck, we were rolling in, and I saw all this nasty, fucking disgusting leather hung out, and I just thought to myself, I was like, I wonder if Watain's playing, because I know they're known for being nasty as shit, and they would have to air their stuff out. And so I asked Meggers, our drummer, and he goes, oh, fuck yeah, dude, that's Watain. That's their little area, and they have to air all their shit out. So that one of the fucking coolest things was, we're playing We're All We Have, and the singer of Watain was back there singing it out, like went up to him to say what's up. And he was like, oh man, I'm a big fan. And he's like, I know you're like new with them, but you know, it's all means something to me. And so for me, I was like, oh fuck yeah, I'm playing in France at this weird fucking festival with Watain. So I love new metal. There's something to be said about dramatic, bringing the theatrical, dramatic, historical oomph of fucking black metal. And there's probably people that'll be like, fuck, you don't know shit about black metal. Okay. Well, from my point of view, I fucking love like Watain. So I love that style. You know? And it's very fucking punk. Like the vocalist, he you know, the way he does it seems very punk to me.
Yeah.
And I love that. But you know, going back, I love Iron Maiden. I
was about to bring that up.
Dude, those guitars that go like that.
I grew up right in the middle of the '80s, man.
Yeah.
Maiden's my.
Yeah, Eddie.
You know, and I was gonna bring that up. The fact that like the beginnings of Iron Maiden, like the people in the UK and Europe, they resisted metal so much because it was still all about disco or punk.
Yeah.
So I mean, metal had a really hard time, you know, kicking off because punk was a thing.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, like those, like Black Sabbath and Iron Maiden, they almost like considered just going punk.
Yeah, and
they had no choice.
To me, they were the attitude, the vibe. What they were doing was so different from everybody else, and I think that's what I mean. Like when I say like the historical vibe that comes from it in these great stories of Black Sabbath and then GBH. They're all from the same area. GBH, Motorhead, Black Sabbath, that fucking working class vibe and shit. It all is the same. But yeah, like I loved all of that. Like there was just something that really. It might have also been because it was, I'm a kid from the '80s, and it was, what was that, Satanic Panic was going on back then?
I just watched the documentary on it.
Or Ozzy,
all of it. So
because of Suicidal Solution, that's
why. And so I was always like, oh, I'm not supposed to be listening to this, so I would want to listen to it. And dude, I love Metallica, and so. It's one of my things.
I want to ask you this. So, in the metal and in the punk area, right now, they always say, what we say now is like, all this shit sucks.
Yeah.
But back in it, here's my philosophy on that, is what I'm thinking. It's because we no longer go by talent of the band. We go by like how deep your pocketbooks are.
Yes.
So it's a lot of rich kids buying into all this shit that are singing about things they have no business singing about, because real will always recognize real.
Yeah.
So do you think do you think it's been our genres have been degraded because of money?
I think
versus talent.
I think money has a lot to do with it, and this is a great. That's an incredible question because there's so many layers to it. Real quick on the money thing, and then also I'm so ADD. Wrangle me. So let's say the money thing. So sometimes you'll look at shit and you'll be like. Some people that come up fucking dead poor that we can't even understand, how you gonna tell them don't get yours,
Yeah.
But they're fighting and they have fucking talent.
Yes.
Now what I think is that we have too much of everything, that we don't respect anything. Mm-hmm. You don't give a fuck about food because it's anything you want is at your fingertips, and have a bite, throw it away.
Don't finish
and
it.
if you came from like most of us, lower class,
yes,
you did not throw anything away. We eat everything, we
clear
use it. Yeah, and whatever it is that was getting made, it was funny. My aunt sent me a meme or something. Whatever was getting made in that big ass pot was gonna be turned into about 8 different meals or whatever, and so. This goes along with the music. You can, like this, what is this, the 69 guy, what's his name?
The Snitch?
Yeah, Takashi.
Yes, Takashi.
Yeah.
So he figured out, now, I'm not talking about, he did come from, like, he wanted money. Does he deserve it? Okay, maybe, whatever. But you can get on the internet and blow it up and make it look like you have all this shit. And so kids younger, they believe it. And so now, you know what it is? It's a cheap ripoff of magic, because they're fucking fooling all of these fucking people, and they don't believe in what they say. And that's what we love about metal and punk is that, you know, we believed in what we were doing. You know, my heroes believed in what they were doing. You know, they were. Let's go back to the Misfits. The Misfits started fucking horror music. Yeah. Nobody did that shit. I mean, okay, you did have King Diamond and stuff, but that shit is so real. And so I think that having so much with the internet that you don't have to work for anything anymore. And kids just, I'm sad and I fear that the love for metal and the love for punk is being so diluted, because now they don't care for anything really. They just take it all in.
And nowadays everything is just like instant gratification.
Yeah.
Do like a 5-minute video. Like, look at these island boys.
Oh fuck yeah! I know.
I'm an island boy.
Yeah, and they're fucking
I'm
famous.
just trying
Yeah.
to make it.
So
Yeah.
here's some of my experiences as a band. You know what? If you're a younger band trying to come up, right? You have great music. It's someone who recognizes that. But you're a younger band. You have no money. You're struggling to make it. How can you ask for a $25,000 buy-on with a bigger band? You know, it's just not going to happen.
No.
You know, that's what I think. I think money has and greed has destroyed our genres.
Yes.
But at the same time, I think our genres have gotten to a point where it's too safe. And
Yes.
I think that's why hip hop and rap has blown up the way it is, because, you know, those guys are just
Say whatever.
Whatever.
Yeah.
And our genres are back here trying to be just too safe.
Yes.
But maybe we're trying to be too safe because the guys in the scene are rich kids and they've never experienced a fucking thing.
It is dude, and this is one of those things, like, I'm already making highlighted notes of us to get back on too, because these are such big, heavy topics. It's like the safety thing.
Yeah.
Okay, you know, I used to love this band called The Meat Men, and they had songs like Crippled Children Suck and One Down, Three to Go, about killing the Beatles and all this different shit, and even the Misfits, Mommy, Can I Go Out and Kill Tonight?
Yeah.
You could not write that now, but they're writing stories like a movie.
Right.
So I love horror movies. Now, do I want my mom to get like kidnapped from a satanic baby and have her nipples shoved up her ass and her head blow up? No, but I might watch that movie.
Yeah, I would watch it.
Yeah, so,
Watch the CGI.
yeah, exactly. So the thing is, we're this whole thing at one point in time, and I hate to say left and right because they're so full of shit, both of them, but at one point in time, metal and punk was kind of like fighting the left's fight, you know what I mean? The idea of it. But they've become so full of shit that it's like that snake that eats itself.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good point.
You know?
Good analogy, yeah.
That's what it's becoming. We're becoming the right. So you go look back, Hitler, burning books, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this, you can't do that. So now the left is over here eating its fucking tail. Now they've become that. And so now you have these motherfuckers that think the right wing, you know, they're wild. And I feel like the right wing way up Hitler-y style are going, perfect.
Yeah. You know,
Perfect.
I love that you said
That
we're
could
thinking
divide.
yourself, because, you know, I think that's a fucking, you hit the nail on the fucking head, dude. That's very true. And that's just my thoughts on it. I think our genres have been invaded by rich kids, and we've become too safe, and we're too scared to say what we feel and what we know, because we're too scared to be maybe canceled.
Yeah.
But you know what? To me, I come from punk rock. I come from hardcore punk, and now I'm doing metal.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, punk rock is a big fuck you.
Yeah.
Everybody, like, hey man, fuck you. I'm gonna do what I want to do. It's a lifestyle and it's a fucking attitude.
Yeah.
You know, and now I feel like we just become too safe. and it's destroying the metal. It's destroying metal. It's destroying fucking punk. And that's why rap and hip hop is just taken off because they don't give a fuck.
Dude, the songs are fucking crazy. Like I'll hear some new stuff and I'm like, is this a joke? Like, I don't care. Art is art. I'm not here to say what should and shouldn't be, but sometimes I'm like, what people are buying this. This guy became a millionaire by talking fucking complete gibberish.
Yeah, you know what? We were listening to a rap song today, and it was like, all it was yeah, yeah, and that's the whole rap song.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, that fucking sold millions. So maybe I should just do a metal song that says yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know what to do.
Wait, and then we can do it. We'll go back like the Sex Pistols and be like, you bought it, motherfucker.
Yeah.
And and then also there's something to be said. It's like, what do real fucking people that believe in old school hip hop and rap?
Yeah.
Are they like disgusted? Just like there are a lot of fucking fake ass, whack ass metal and punk and fake fucking complete bullshit. And I got caught in it, and it was we were doing something about starving wolves with one of my friends that was helping us to promote the band online. He said, okay, street punk, and I was like, no, dear God, fucking don't call us a street punk band ever, because at one point street punk meant something, and then all of a sudden everybody had this perfect mohawk, perfectly ripped jeans and all this shit, and everything was street punk. And so now street punk is kind of a joke in itself. You know?
I gotta agree with you, because now everyone's a witch.
Yeah.
Everyone's goth now.
Yeah.
Everyone's this and that. It's like, dude, you've what do you call it? You've raped our culture.
Yeah.
You've gentrified all the real cool stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Let's talk fucking plain. This shit it is cool, and I'm offended by the way, like, I have a lot of friends, maybe a little bit younger, that are like, why do you take it so hard? I'm like, because we used to get our asses kicked.
Yes. Yeah, especially in Texas.
Yeah.
We're redneck Texas, so.
Yeah. And also, like, I can remember, like, any of us that were, like, into this kind of style, you would get that crush on the kind of, like, gothic chick and be like, oh my God. Yeah, I smoke cloves too. But just anything, please, sure, I'll hold your camera for you. Yes, and there was something that was so cool, and now it's like, fuck, those guys, girls, whatever, they were rebels back then, and now it's like, oh man, this sucks.
Oh, dude. Hard question to ask you, because I asked a mutual friend of ours this question.
Okay.
And I put her on the spot.
Okay.
Nirvana, punk or grunge? And we're gonna go down this rabbit hole.
Okay, let's go. Okay, well, because I'm maybe a little bit older, but also younger, I say punk. But
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I say punk. Now I get it. The media needed something to
kill metal.
Yeah, to call it.
Here's what I get. If you want to call them grunge, do they sound anything like Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, Screaming Trees?
Nothing.
No.
They sound nothing like, dude. They are a punk band to me.
Just because they're from Seattle, that's the only.
Yeah, and if you look at here's something. Let's each think of a band that people outside of our culture would not think is punk. Let me think. This is kind of putting us on the spot. That's a little bit difficult, but fuck. So you have bands like Joy Division that turned into New Order. Now Joy Division was originally a band called Warsaw that was much more fucking punk. And so I'm thinking about what is a band that's not just like real heavy, but like screamy, but it's pretty punk as fuck.
Well, you know what? I would say.
You know what I
I
mean?
Hate God.
Okay, all right.
You know.
Yeah.
What would you call, they classify him as sludge, but.
Now they did come from a very punky fucking.
Yeah, but
background.
you know his vocal style. Well, let's go to vocal styles too later. A little later. I could probably talk to you all day. We could probably talk all day about.
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
music. But you know his vocal style is very much to me Argo type vocals, which you know to me comes from hardcore punk.
Mm-hmm.
But the rhythm section is very like slow. It's just to me it's a good mixture. But that's a band that I could maybe classify as a little bit punk, as punk undertones.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Maybe that's a band that's the only band that comes to mind for me.
Well, there was bands like
Maybe
Bauhaus.
Hate Breed, maybe?
Hate
Yeah,
Breed.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let me make this. What is a band? So like Nirvana, because they didn't have the mohawk, and every song wasn't like sounded like Waddy.
Mhm.
So they threw them in the category because, like you said, they're from Seattle
Yeah.
area, but it's their background was very punk, their vibe was very punk, but a lot of punks didn't look like this.
Yeah.
You know, I have a big
Right.
fat round head, so a little something maybe a lot of people don't know. This just thins me out. That's the only reason I hate this haircut.
Like vertical lines.
I hate it.
I love my mohawk.
I didn't try that.
I just shaved my mohawk recently because I got my back of my head tattooed. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, my shit was humongous, man. But I've always loved the mohawk. But you know what? Every time I see somebody with mohawk, I'll always identify as punk.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's become so commercialized now that
It
it's
has.
like, oh, that guy's just in R&B.
But you remember back in the day, if you saw somebody with like an Iron Maiden shirt or a mohawk, you'd be like, hey, where are you going? Like,
Yeah.
where are you from?
Yeah.
Maybe we should hang out. Because it wasn't. You know, when you saw somebody that would listen to metal or punk 25 fucking, we'll age ourselves 30 years ago, we'd be like, I need to go see where this motherfucker is.
Yeah.
Where he's going.
Cool. So we, I don't know if you're familiar, but we have a really good friend in town who does a lot of the booking for like punk bands. Their name is Give and Take Booking, and her name is Shay, and her husband's name is Eamon. So she's like the punk aficionado of El Paso.
Cool.
Because she's always booking all these really cool bands, man.
She's like the punk ambassador.
Yeah.
Punk ambassador. So I asked her, you know what? Give me some questions you want us to ask David, and yeah, she hit us up and
Cool.
Okay, so like the first question is related to like touring. Like talk to us about some of the places away from the United States where you guys have toured, and like I'm really interested in the differences in the punk culture in different countries.
I got really lucky, also because of Casualties. So my first, like, band, you know, that we went at it was called Krum Bums, and we started touring out with the Casualties and became friends, and they took us with them to Europe, and you know, kind of a little history of our friendship, but I went there, and you know, I was just so stoked. You know, it's why I'm so happy to kind of be here talking about this and looking at some art, because it was so cool, because it gave me a different respect from where I am and where they are. That is old country, you know? So first I get there and I'm looking, and it's like, yeah, there are fucking castles, and the roads are like old fucking
Cobblestone.
Yeah, cobblestone, brick,
Yeah.
everything. But also they live differently than us. So there are all these little differences that kind of trip me out. But the first countries, you know, that I was really into, that I was touring around a lot, you know, was like Germany and Switzerland, and you know, that all of that area.
Yeah.
And the thing that is different, very American and very European, is, and I mean this with respect to Europeans, but from my perspective as an American, is that we have a very, very go for it attitude. If you want it, you can fucking do it. If you
Yeah.
want to be in a band, you can do it. They have the same attitude, but one of the rad things about the European is in the United States, we'll be like at a certain age, you're done, no more punk. But over there, they're like, I'm an electrician and I'm a punk.
Yeah.
And so they have outfits that they wear for each of their jobs. You know,
Yeah.
like the road guy wears this,
Yeah.
the electrician wears this. So they would come to the shows and then they would go change like in the bathroom of the club and start putting their hair up, and they would help each other do their hair. Where here, we would be more like, I'm not doing my hair in front of all you motherfuckers. And,
Yeah.
and you know, very like, I'm gonna show up punked out. These guys, hey, I just got off work, I'm a fucking plumber, and I'm gonna go to the show. And they're very fucking supportive.
Yeah.
I would say, just a fact, they are more supportive culturally to the punk scene than the Americans are. You know what I mean? Like, we'll be like, I'm not, I don't want to go see this band because I'm not really into them. Over there, they're going to go to support because the club needs the support. And also, when you show up there, usually you'll play a lot of times in an old war like bunker, you know, and that the government has given to the city or whatever. So you'll show up and there'll be a certain area where you can sleep and a kitchen. And, you know, I would go talk to the cook or whatever, and he'd say, oh yeah, every Wednesday I cook for the bands. So people go out of their way, and it makes you, it created a bond. And I have friends with people that will be friends with me until the day I die.
Oh.
You know, from the first time I went over there, because they really, really work for it. And you don't see that as much over here. Like, just for instance, we just met. You invited me into your home. We're doing this. I feel like I've known y'all forever.
Yeah.
And that's the vibe with more people.
Right.
You know what I mean? We do have an attitude of, let's go, let's do it. I'm not gonna be a electrician. I'm gonna be a fucking punk musician.
Yeah.
They have a little bit more. They're a little toned down, but supportive.
Exactly.
If that makes sense.
I lived in Europe for a while. I lived in Germany for about, I think 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
And the difference I've seen between our cultures is this: they're a little bit more laid back.
Yes.
In Germany, there's a party, there's a festival every weekend.
Yeah, every
You know,
night.
You know,
Fuck.
yeah, exactly. You know, and so they'll get the job done, but they'll do it at their pace. You know,
Yes.
I feel like we need to. I think as Americans, we're a little bit too uptight.
Yes.
You know, and just relax a little bit.
Yeah, I
Yes.
think in America we're more about putting on a show, man.
Yeah.
And like the things you were describing right now about Europe, it's like authentic, it's like real.
It is.
You know?
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. The difference I've seen is this. Like we were talking earlier. Like I lived in Germany. Their metal scene there and their punk scene is more. Yours, old school. How about that?
Mm-hmm.
Versus where we're at, we're always like punching on the go and shit, and they're just chill.
Yeah.
They just take it easy. So.
Oh yeah. There's also a lot of bands like, they have no fucking clue
Yeah.
who a lot of these bands are over
Yeah,
here.
who-
Yeah.
And I think it is because they're just chill. They're like, nah, I like this
Yeah,
band.
but they're not as I can't use the word they're not as machismo or
Yeah, no.
Yeah, yeah.
back
Putting
then.
on a show.
You know, they're more like they're humble people.
They are, and there's something so awesome to be said about that humble vibe. And I think that I learned nothing can teach you more than talking with somebody from somewhere else, if that makes sense.
That does. You know what? I want to say about this because you're the Casualties. To me, you guys are. I think I said earlier, you guys big influences in my life. So when you guys, the thing I do in my band is like, you know what? If somebody's coming to see me, I don't call them fans. I call them my friends.
I hate the word. I'll say something like, when I first started noticing it, was when I started playing with Casualties. Well, what about your fans? And I would say, well, we have a lot of listeners, or
right.
supporters, or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
And it's we have a lot of friends, and we stay. I'm kind of flopping around, but if you're watching, you'll see where we're going with this. But it's like there's a fucking humbleness that goes along with this band, and also go back to the money thing. It's like if people kind of knew how hard the Casualties fucking work. In my first band, like I was saying, like in Krum Bums, the guitar player Trey and I, we were the first ones in that band to say, this is what we want to do, this is what we're gonna do. And we met the Casualties, became friends with them, and said, that's who we're gonna, like, our work ethic is gonna come out from, because they tour and they tour. Nobody fucking tours like the Casualties. And I'm not saying that because they're my friends or because I'm in the band. It's just the fucking truth. And along with that, if you tour like this, reality is it costs money. We spend a lot of money to do what we love to do. But to do that, for us to do that, we have to have friends that become our family, because we sleep on floors. To this day, in our van, we have blow-up mattresses. Everybody has a sleeping bag. And there's something so rad about that family vibe. And to go back to the European thing, I really get that, because they don't have the same kind of money over there that we have here. So when you're in a punk band, you are sleeping on floors, you're sleeping at the club, and you have to help each other out. There's a give and a take, and that's another thing that I love about the punk and metal scene. And to be very up to date, I don't even know this dude's name, Travis whatever.
I was going to bring that up next. Travis Scott.
Yeah,
I was going to bring out the whole topic of mosh pits up, and especially because like what just happened this past weekend.
Yeah,
that was crazy.
Like, people getting trampled.
We were talking about that earlier, dude.
Yeah, talk about some fake ass bullshit.
Dude, I'll say this: at a metal show, at a punk show, hey, with my band, like Texas Metal Band or Number Master, we have a crew in Dallas called the Pit Demons. They follow us around. They're a mosh pit crew, bro. They're like 30, 40 fucking deep, dude.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? If you're moshing, you pick the fucking dude up. You fucking support him. You don't fucking just trample over him and shit.
Yeah.
That's just the way, that's the way we are. I don't know what happened at that fucking show. They just trampled over him. It's like, hey, fuck them. We're gonna step all over you, dude. But we don't.
No,
we don't do that in our culture.
There would be a wall created of
Stop.
people.
Stop.
Yeah, and it's just it's crazy, man, and it's it goes back to our like musical culture and shit, and some of the things that I love, that like this historical thing I keep saying, but it's so cool. Like you go back and you listen. Or you look at pictures of Metallica, and they're wearing Misfit shirts, and then you'll see those rad photos of Sam Hain, Glenn Danzig, and the Misfits together, and then Metallica taking Danzig on their tours and all that shit. There was something about helping each other out. That's so cool.
There was a tour not so long ago, the Casualties, and there was you guys
the metal tour.
The metal tour.
Goat Horror.
I read so much pushback about that, and I didn't understand fucking why. Because I first and foremost grew up as a punk, and I became a metalhead. But you know what? I don't understand the fucking pushback behind that. I just thought it was some elitist type shit.
Neither did we. Both bands.
Why? So you felt why in your mind do you think that there was pushback behind that?
Because everybody always wants to separate things into genres, and that is actually what for me killed a lot of it. And going back to that street punk shit, so when I was in Krum Bums, every fucking show, every band sounded the same.
Yes.
And I was like, this fucking sucks. So we, there's something rad about going on a tour and being like, oh cool, Casualties, exploited, whole hog and this person. Yeah, it's rad because now it's not as common because punk is going through its low phase. So it is rad to have those. But what is really cool is going to a show and seeing a few different kind of bands. Now, I will tell you, it would be weird to me if I did see like Watain and like a funny band,
like a Green Day or something.
yeah, or something. Yeah, now at a festival, cool, but on a tour like that, yeah, I do expect to see all metal. But like even right now, Casualties and Piñata Protest.
You know what I'd like to see? The Casualties and Texas Taliban.
Yeah, that's the tour I'd love to see.
Now
Second
that I think we can work on.
No, we can
Talk about variety.
Yeah.
But it is true. There was a lot of bullshit with that metal tour. For whatever reason, I forget the name. Metal Alliance, maybe it was. But Goat Whore kind of heads that, I think, every year. And, I mean, those are just great fucking dudes, and they love punk music. And, we're very fucking honored to be on that.
Dude, I'm a punk fan, so I'd be honored as a metalhead to be on tour with the fucking punk band, man.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you shouldn't. We should just maybe combine our shit and stop being fucking elitists.
What are some of the coolest bands you've toured with?
Oh, man. And now this will sound like I'm being a kiss ass, but yesterday we kind of talked a little bit before this about the COVID bullshit, but I woke up and I'm fucking exhausted. We just drove from Houston to El Paso. It may say 10 and a half hours, but it's like 13, 14 hours. That's like
most of Texas. Right?
Yeah. And I woke up and I said, dude, do you know how fucking lucky I am to get to do this, to be here, to meet new friends? Man, there's not many bands that I wasn't happy to be on tour with, but I've been very lucky, I love Defiance up in Portland, Oregon. I've become like family with Sammy from Goat Whore. Dude, there's so many. I've been stoked my whole life, I'm trying to think. There's a few bands that I've been out on tour with. Oh, here's something that's a trip. Now, Elitist will shit all over this story, but the Krum Bums one time went on tour with the Germs. It was all original except for Darby. Darby's dead. So the singer, Shane West, he played him in the movie, and they just said, hey, why don't we go out on tour? The Germs have never been out on tour before. But I got to have these great fucking talks with Pat Smear and Lorna Doom.
Oh, wow.
And here's a couple of cool ones. It was like one night we were getting drunk, and I had this big Darby pin, and Pat was like, man, just do me one favor, don't ever get caught up in that bullshit. And I think he was having an emotional day because he said, he's like, you think Darby was my friend at the end of all that? He was so addicted to heroin that was it. We weren't fucking friends anymore, and it destroyed him. And we were talking later on. We were having a good laugh. He said he was working, and give or take some of how this story was told to me, because we were both wasted.
Yeah.
But he was like, dude, I was working at a record store, and Kurt called me and said, do you want to be in Nirvana? And I just walked out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool shit like that. And that was one I'll never forget, because I love the Germs. And I grew up listening to Nirvana, love Nirvana, and seeing Pat. And Lorna was, a female bass player back in those days. It wasn't as normal.
Yeah.
And she was just such a fucking cool fucking punk. And I love that. And Lorna's gone now, she's not on this earth anymore. And so I'll always cherish that, those conversations. She would wear, every night she would take my bandana and put it in her back pocket when they played.
Yeah.
And I always had this little crush on her.
Yeah.
I was all,
Oh, man.
Dude.
So that was a real heavy highlight of my life.
Nirvana, like Unplugged in New York.
Yeah, right?
It's always going to be one of my top five.
That always has to be a top one because it's so emotional.
It is.
It was.
You know, that's
dude.
what I think. You know what? We go back to this. Real will always recognize real.
Yep.
You know, if you buy your way into this lifestyle, we notice it. You know, you won't be respected. You will never be felt. You're just gonna be out there because you pay to be out there.
I have something to add with you on this, and I always talk to young people in this way. If you have a foundation, you have less distance to fall.
There you go.
And when you fly to the top, when that fucking buzz is over, you're gonna go right back. But when you build the foundation with our friends, you know what some people call their fans, it's bullshit.
Yeah.
So when you have a foundation that means something, and real recognizes that.
Real. Well, I'll add on to that as well. Before you build a house, what do you start with?
Yeah,
The
foundation.
There you
Exactly.
go. Yeah.
And that is the foundation for everything. You know, and like I've always cooked in restaurants, and I never had any formal training, so I had to learn all of these basics and stuff. And then there would be these people that went to this real fancy school. Well, they couldn't fucking flip fucking burgers when we had 200 people aligned.
Yeah.
And it's because they never learned the dirty work.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure, you can flambe this and you can do all of these things, but can you get in there and just fucking work?
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Most people don't want to work.
They don't. They want to give it to them. They don't want to earn it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They're below it, or
they're
it's
above
below
it.
them. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's below them.
So what are so like what's your favorite song to play live? Okay, you know what? Your top three.
Okay, so in the Casualties, one of my favorite fucking songs is, before I joined the band to play, is Chaos Sound. And it's just like a fucking, it's just a ripper.
Yeah.
And, you know, then there's also like, I always have a blast playing like the old school, you know, like For the Punks.
Yeah.
And then the song that I wrote with them, the title track of the album is called Written in Blood. And I love that. And that's kind of, you know, I like to think lyrically, I try to write about what's happening. And so, you know, it's kind of funny, that song title and where I found myself in this band is like, shit's written in blood, man. I can't make it up.
This is fate, dude.
I like the
You know?
Spanish stuff,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah,
I
dude.
feel
Yeah,
it,
ya
man.
basta. Yep, corazones
That one,
intoxicados.
brother.
Yep.
Yes.
So,
I feel that shit.
and that goes back to like a Texas vibe where we're from, and that's another thing, you know, like the Casualties understand, when you're from here and you hear like a little bit of Spanish, it's not like, oh, that's Spanish. You feel connected to it. You've heard it
It's
in your
also
life.
the lyrics, man. Like, okay,
Yeah.
what is he singing about? Oh shit, I know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Like I felt that. I can relate to it.
Yep,
Yeah.
I love that.
Like I heard my dad say that one time.
Yeah.
That's cool,
in
man.
Starving Wolves, I love playing Broken Arrows. It's got a lot of like native vibe in the fight of, you know, we may find ourselves like in rough times, and the lyrics are like broken arrows will fly again.
Yeah.
You know, it's like we may find ourselves in these bad situations, but we'll make it.
Yeah.
What are some what are some new punk bands that people should be on the lookout for? Maybe somebody who's caught your eye.
So there's a band that's fucking amazing called Whole Hog, and they're kind of from the Bay Area. They're really
Dude, the Bay Area, man, just so rich with
always,
talent,
dude.
bro.
It is.
I'm never surprised when somebody says, "Oh, they're from the Bay Area."
You know what? I don't want to take her, but for me, Hell Fury
Oh yeah.
from Austin, Texas. That's a mutual friend of ours,
Yes.
Bobby.
Yeah.
To me, they are. I love the fucking Death, man.
Yeah.
Like they're like my favorite Texas fucking band.
Yes.
I played with them. I just think they're phenomenal, man.
Yep. Well, her and I have been friends since that they first really started, and it was in honor as a friendship that we would bop ideas back back and forth, because it was one of the things we always talk about, foundation.
Yes.
You've got to have this great foundation. And so our booking agent, I always talk to him and like, if you can put Hell Fury on, let's do Hell Fury. So last night we played at Trip 6 DIY spot in Houston, and Hell Fury played with us. And about maybe a month ago, Starving Wolves played at Trip 6, and Hell Fury played with us.
So awesome.
And we played 2 weeks ago with Hell Fury in Austin, because it's important that people that are working, we stick together.
Thank you. You know what? So this is what I'm trying to be political here.
Okay.
You know what? My thing is this. You know, if you're an older band that's been in the scene and you've made it, you've done this, you've had all these accomplishments, man, and you see an upcoming band that is you notice is working their ass off, and they actually are pretty good. Hey, man, how about you try to mentor them?
Lift them up.
Exactly.
Exactly.
You know,
That's why I asked you.
Not beat them down.
Yeah.
Not try to take away from them because you're a big fish, little pond.
Yeah.
Hey, man, we don't live in a pond. We live in a fucking ocean.
Yeah.
The ocean is fucking vast.
That's what I always say. I said, there's enough for all of us
There's
to
enough for
eat.
all.
Yes.
There's one other band I want to bring up. They're called User Unauthorized, and I tell everybody, look out for them. They're very young. The drummer, his real name is Rooster. I think he's 14.
Holy shit.
His brother plays guitar. His name is Johnny Cash. Yeah, and I think he's 18. So they're all between like 14 and 18, but they really have a very cut down way of playing. They have a very Black Flag vibe. Not because they're trying to sound that way.
That's just their sound.
Yeah, I think because they just get their instruments and they just play. And those are three that come to mind that I just really, really think are putting out that effort. There's a band, Shadow Hounds, in San Antonio. The singer was in a band called the Flatliners. Fucking amazing. They've got kind of like a tragedy sound. There's another band called Mob 84 in Dallas, and the singer used to play in a band called Damage Case. That was an amazing band. So there's just like a couple of them, you know.
So, oh yeah, so be on the lookout for those bands.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
So what do you guys have coming up, like moving forward?
So yeah, it's a good way to box it up. I do want to say, I hope that we can do this again,
Oh, yeah,
because
bro.
it's a lot of fun.
You know what? This time we're doing it when it's the Casualties and Texas Taliban on tour together.
All right, let's do it.
Let's do it, brother. Let's do it. Let's do it.
So, we're gonna do this tour, and it's going West Coast. It's the whole tour is like 20 shows. Or 20 days, 19 shows.
You guys have like no days off. I
One
saw
day,
that.
but it's
Yeah,
a
one day,
drive
like-
day, and our booking agent, and manager is like, okay, I need you guys to record a song on that day, and I'm like, I don't want to.
Dude.
I can't take my instrument to Guitar Center, you know? But here's a little secret: we're gonna do like a Motorhead song, but there's like the Motorhead ambassadors that have like their equipment, and so we're hoping to record on some of their stuff. So I don't know if I'm supposed to say anything about that, so we'll keep that between
Yeah, we
us.
keep on the
But
Should I
then,
cut that out?
so then I get back home, and Starving Wolves is gonna fly out to Minneapolis, and we'll play a show, and then there's talk that we'll immediately fly out. Casualties will fly out to South America, and then in February we're gonna do like 6 to 8 weeks Casualties in Europe.
Gosh, dude.
And
Damn, brother.
in between that, I love to do this. I don't physically love to, but it needs to be done. I'll have Casualties in the tour, and I'll move my stuff from that van into Starving Wolves van. And, there's just not a much... When you fucking love what you do, there's not enough time in the day. So,
Yeah.
while I can still jump around, that's what I'm going to do.
Well, I told you from my experience, like, that's how we make money now.
Yeah.
It's from touring and merch and stuff like
Yeah.
that. That's how we make money now. So people, like, buy the CDs, buy the merch.
Support
Please.
them.
Support musicians. Don't be a dickhead.
Yeah.
So David, I'll ask you one last question before we start to wrap it up. Hey man, the best advice you could give upcoming bands right now?
That part of that is what we touched on, is build a foundation. Also, like, very much what we've been talking about, real recognizes real. If you don't want to really fucking do this, and this is like if I'm talking to somebody with music, with art, I get offended, and I shouldn't take it this personal, but I'm offended when people, you just want to do it to look cool or something. If you're not feeling it, get the fuck out of the way, man, because you're fucking with everybody else's time and something that I take personal. This is real shit,
Right.
But don't believe your own bullshit. We will all go through a time when our ego gets a little bit larger than us, but that's the quickest way to ruin your friendships. That's the quickest way to be unauthentic as it gets. And in this style of music, nothing breaks your heart in that good way like an authentic song that you can relate to. Like, how many times have we listened to that old country song on a Sunday night after a long Saturday on repeat, because Sunday morning coming down, that shit is too real.
Yeah.
So build the foundation, do your best as you get older to try to find that authentic you, because that will make your entire life make sense. People want to live outside of their means, and like I said the other day, I got up and I just felt grateful, and I felt grateful that I grew up how I did and that I worked the way that I did, because I appreciate these little things. As silly as it sounds, like sometimes I feel like I'm the richest man in the fucking world. I have a little house, I have a little dog, I've got some of the best friends in the world.
Yeah.
And I get to do what I love.
You know what? I'm glad you said that, because, I have a saying, it's not the riches that are in my pocket, it's the riches that are in my heart.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm glad you said that. That means a lot, man.
Yeah.
Do you have anything, Joe?
Did you want to mention anything else? Or
I think that's it.
Pretty touched on everything, man.
I think we did. I think it was a great interview.
It was great, man.
It was really good.
Yeah, well, David, man, it was such an honor to meet you, like I said in the beginning, and really glad we had the chance to talk to you and capture this moment, and look forward to seeing you again, man.
Fuck yeah,
for
brother.
sure.
All right, brother.
Thank you.
Brother.
Thank you, man.
Brother. Thank you.
I want to once again shout out our friends with Give and Take Booking, and also as always shout out to Mama Judy behind the camera. She's always the one with the
Thank you, Judy.
super focus.
David, do you have any shout outs you want to give, bro?
Man, I just want to say a shout out to everybody that's coming out to the shows. Keep coming out. Do what you can for young bands, and older bands. It's difficult to keep this shit going. I just want to thank everybody. Thank you guys.
I want to give a shout out to Hell Fury, because I love you guys. And if you guys ever heard of Hell Fury, check them out. Female fronted. She's a bad motherfucker to me. Skull Archer, the Pit Demons, the Pit Bulls in Dallas, Reno's in Dallas. Thank you guys for supporting us, and I love you guys. Thank you.
I just want to remind you, we're coming to you from the Monolith Sessions from the real West Texas, El Paso.
See, the Devil's Den.
Hell yeah,
Devil's
man.
Den.
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys next time on the Monolith
Awesome.
Sessions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Peace.
Bye-bye.